as you see the title of this topic, I want to give a little quick backstory so everybody could be on the same page on what I'm going to talk about. So, I want to say Wednesday morning, my boy JT, shout out to him. He sent me this clip on IG. For those that don't know what IG is Instagram. Um, and I want to see what you guys think about what he sent me.
Dream job.
I didn't think that, being so happy can turn into something like this.
Nell Diallo was having a great time dancing and twerking in the aisle on an empty plane before an early morning flight.
I decided to just take advantage of the moment to wake myself up and kind of get myself like hyped up for my day, basically.
She posted the video on TikTok along with the caption, "What's wrong with a little twerk before work?" But after the video went viral, she says Alaska Airlines fired her. What did they say to you?
They just said that I broke their social media policy.
Nell had only been on the job for 6 months. She says she was twerking to celebrate the end of her probationary period.
Why did you decide to post the video?
And I was really proud of myself that I came so far. I just didn't think that my video and my post and the way I was dancing would be deemed as inappropriate.
So how did you feel in that meeting when they told you you lost your job?
I put on such a proud face every time I stepped on that plane. And for them to terminate me without giving me a chance.
So, originally, when I initially saw it, before I reached out to him and thanked him for definitely sending me something to definitely talk about, I was gonna do it probably almost in a short format, but then I realized something like this, you probably want to do a little more deep dive. I didn't want to just sound superficial or anything else like that, because a lot of this stuff has been going around, right? Where people they use their social media and things like that, and they get caught up. And there was a few things she said in that news report, right? So like it was her dream job. You know, yeah, she said it was her dream job, and she even captured it a little twerk before work. That's why I had titled this, this, because it's kind of like, my initial hot take on it, like when I sat and I watched it, and I said, well, you know what you look like in the mirror. You know your body type. Men suffer from boxelitis. Shout out to Anton Daniels. That's his terminology. So shout out to him on that one. And that it was gonna garnish attention. It was already gonna get attention, and it's like you knew it kind of going in. Like that was my initial hot take, and I said, you know what? Let me be fair and balanced, if you will, right? So that's why I decided not to do a short. So I said, okay, this is your dream job. Let's take a look from the dream job perspective. Well, first off, let's take a look at how much money that earning potentials that she had. So, right, we're taking a look. As we look it over, you see it highlighted. Excuse me, a little thirsty there. Can't put the lemonade down sometimes. That her it probably was her starting salary, which makes sense when you look at it highlighted, right? It's about 51,000 starting. That's probably where she was probably at. And then the top earning potential is $150,000 per year. And usually what the average salary, obviously you see 93,000. So she was looking at close to six figures And then when you also look at the traveling, because that's not the traveling, that's not the that's not the traveling, that's not those other little perks that you can get. Airline flight attendants. I want to say is not just about the money, and there's other benefits. And like I said, I go with the latter. Let's say she made it all the way to make that 150K. You put that at risk to post a little twerk before work, and then when as I because I watched it multiple times because I said, you know what, let me watch it, let me see what she's saying in the news report. And she's crying because it's the dream job. I guess she was crying, and but this the part I don't understand, right? And maybe people can help me with this. That they said that she violated the code of conduct and the social media policy and things of that nature. And you got some people that are oh well, it's none of business what people post and things like that. It actually does become other people's business nowadays, because I don't know if people really realize that they got people that their sole purpose is to watch your social media, whether it's private or not. So, what I did in my wisdom as well, right, as I was looking deeper into this story, what I did was I found the social media policy. Let's take a look at the social media policy. Let's pull it up. There it is, right there. So, obviously, if you're watching the video, if you want to pause it and read it, you can pause it and read it, but I'm going to point out a few things, right? Well, for starters, let's take a look. Because I'm going to read it, I got to put on my eyes. So I turned around, and it states that the main thing is almost everybody uses social media in one way or another, and we respect your right to maintain an online presence on social media. You should make it clear that your online profiles are personal and that you do not represent our company in social media. I'm gonna go back to it a little more, but let's attack that for a minute, right? Let's take a look at a breakdown. So, also what I forgot to also mention as well is that they say you don't represent our company. Now, let's go back to the media thing. I'm gonna pause it at a certain part, but we're going to go back to it, and I'm going to turn down the volume real quick, and let me pause it at a certain point. Okay.
Dream job.
Turn down the volume. Okay. Run it back. Put it back 10 seconds. Let me stop it right there. Right? So, as we look, we see that she is on the plane. So that is company time. Right? Remember what the social media post is. It's private, you don't represent our company. So, as you look closely, like on YouTube, probably be able to zoom in, all that kind of stuff. You see she's on a plane. You see she's on a uniform. What most people do not understand is if you work for a business or a company that has a uniform, The uniform is a representation of the company. So at this point, it's now not personal. It's you're representing the company. So that violates that part of it within itself, right? God, this lemonade's on hit. Oh, um. So let's do this. Let's go back to the social media rules, right? Right there, right? So we already had that first part, right? If you take a look, let me go back to where I can read it. It also states that even when you use your personal profiles, you should not use social media to harass or bully coworkers, guests, or anyone related to our companies. Well, she didn't violate that part, right? Please respect others and the company's confidential information while using social media. You should not post information that isn't public knowledge. For an example, confidential information including new flight routes discussed during internal meetings. That kind of makes sense. That's self-explanatory. If I gotta explain that, then I don't know what to tell you. Um, However, you may share publicly available information such as changes to our mileage program announced through public press releases. Okay. So, when you go back and you examine how she said that she was very proud of having this job, she wanted to celebrate her probation, she could have targeted it in another way. Because as I was thinking, right, this is just me thinking in my head, that if she wanted to show her pride and her proud, she could have did something that she was allowed to share, like the mileage program, this, that, or everything else like that. Say that she's now a proud member of Alaskan Airlines and actually use her speech, her face, and not necessarily her body and all that kind of stuff. So I found out there's other ways to celebrate. Let me extend the olive branch here, right? I'm not letting my cape drape. I'm not riding on a white horse. I'm not riding in with my noble steed and all of that. I'm just pointing out the obvious and trying to be balanced. That that there's she could have represented herself somewhat different and still achieve the same goal. And if you want to twerk before work, I mean, you didn't have to put it on camera. You could have twerked on a plane. Nobody would have cared. Nobody's on the plane. Like people always snitch on themselves, and I think that's what it is. And I also I notice more women get caught up in it than men. Not saying that men don't get caught up in it. It's just I find interesting that it's more women that end up in the news, things like that nature, and so many people, even people in the comments, they might debate about this. They're probably gonna go back and forth on this. So I'll allow the comment section to be the comment section, But my take on it is she could have did something different. And here's the other part that people don't realize, right? That probably when you got hired, I'm going to take a guess here because I do not work for the company, but give it the old college try and a little guess, if you will, that they probably had you sign a bunch of papers. And probably within those papers, they probably said, did you read the code of ethics and conduct and you fully understand it? And probably was like, yeah, sure I did. Yeah. Probably didn't even read it. And how many times have I said, the saying that my grandfather said, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit because we're on YouTube, but you know, my sister probably definitely knows what I'm about to say. Um, my grandfather would say, if you want to keep a secret from somebody, put it in a book, put it in writing, because people don't read. Now he said it in a little more different way, but we're not gonna put that out there like that. But people that know me, they heard me say it the real way. Um, but you know, a lot of you guys just don't read the stuff because they probably read that I can terminate you, blah blah blah. They probably all these rules. Now, if I was able to pull up the rules off offline, just simple Google search, blah blah blah, they probably have pretty, pretty. Damn man, yeah, real time. I forgot to put the phone on do not disturb. Okay. They okay. Let me get my chain of thought back because I like this real time. Sometimes it just shows it's authentic. That because I was talking about signing. Okay, so so we get all these. So if I was able to pull it up online, that that they definitely, and it's a company that clearly has money. It's probably in a pretty glossy thing, and they hand it to you. And I mean, for crying out loud, they have a code of conduct for kids in school, and they require them to sign it. Like like I mean, I think it's just a thing by default. But also, what also brought my attention is this, right? So I was looking, and I said, well, let's the conduct that's not prohibited. Okay. So the well, I probably have to read the whole thing just for context purposes. But I found it interesting. This policy is not intended to preclude or dis dissuade employees from engaging in legal protection activities such as discussing or disclosing wages, benefits, or terms and conditions of employment or working conditions of employees, forming, joining, or supporting labor unions, bargaining collectively through representatives of their choosing, raising companies about working conditions, or from engaging in legally required or permitted activities. So we, I mean, that's probably not related to social media policy, but that's probably roped in there somewhere. And I wonder how many of those employees actually read it. That's the question I wonder. Like, I want to say it's a 19-page document. You know what? I'll tell you right now how many page document it is. It is. Let me see. 18. So it's 18 pages, but 19 is an appendix page. I guess it shows you like the sections and titles and the published dates and revisions and blah blah blah. So, in the meantime, between time, do I think that she's gonna be all right? Yeah. I mean, it sucks. It's unfortunate. However, I just personally think that these are the takeaways from it. A, make sure you read things from cover to cover, and read your contracts before you sign them so you know what you're getting into. Two, stop snitching on yourself with your job online. And three, you have to be careful what you do post on social media, whether you like it or not. And I shout out to my sister because we debate that from time to time. And this is just an example that you do have to be careful because there are consequences behind these things. Like people don't play it. It's not like the early 2000s where people that they look at your social media before you walk into that interview. So they kind of already know what they're dealing with. So you really have to be careful with that. So, with that being said, once again, I want to thank JT. Shout out to him for sending me the story. And, like, comment, subscribe. Got more stuff coming. Like I said, you saw a little bit of the interface that I figured out tonight. So something little new. I hope you enjoyed that part of the video clip. And looking forward to doing more things. Hopefully, hasn't been a lot of stuff for shorts lately, so that's why you haven't seen a lot of my shorts lately, because I just feel a lot of stuff out there is stale, or it's a subject I really don't want to tackle at this time. So, but there's always something. We'll figure something out. So, thank you for your time once again. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you later.